Hi, I'm George. I run Jokto. We did around $1 million in profit in 2025. I'm talking about profit, I'm not talking about revenue. And I've also got brand side, which I think is super important because I've been the guy that is hiring agencies, that is firing agencies, and frankly, the guy that's realizing they hired the wrong agency and it screwed us up. And honestly, choosing an agency is one of the most stressful things you can do as a founder or brand marketer because everybody sounds good. Everybody has case studies, everybody has promises, everybody has decently good salespeople. So I'm gonna give you my take on how I would select an agency right now if I had literally a gun to my head and I had to make the correct call or my business would go under. So the first thing, you don't want to go by who's louder on X and LinkedIn, right? These agencies, they sound good, but they are rarely the best ones because frankly, if somebody has the time to post 10 times a day, ask yourself, how much time they're actually spending within accounts, right? So that filters out a lot of people already. What you should actually do, in my perspective, is start with people who already see behind the curtain, behind the social media veil. So ask the platforms that you work with, ask the paid media agency that you work with. These types of operators, whether it's tech side or other agency side, they're working with 20 other brands. In many cases, 2,000 other brands, right? So they're plugged into dozens of accounts. They know who does good work. They know who's just good at selling. And the best founders do use this so that they can build an initial shortlist. If you, for example, were to go to Loop Subscriptions and talk to Nihal over there, he's overseeing literally, I think, 500 million in subscription revenue in his book of business. So if he were to tell you, work with Yocto, George and his team do good work, then you should probably take him for his word because he's seeing so many different companies and so many different other agencies that if he gives us his trust, then probably means we're doing something right? So that's step one. Use people that are plugged in into the ecosystem to create an initial shortlist. Now, after you have this shortlist, you need to filter further because people will tell you who they think is appropriate, but you actually need to make sure that A, they've solved the type of problem you're trying to solve in the past. For example, if your objective is we don't have enough hands to produce enough emails, you are really looking for an agency that's operationally great and can produce at scale and has strong QA processes, etc. That's what you're looking for. If you're looking for somebody that has strong creative, it's something else. If you're looking for somebody that's good at strategy, it's something else. Deliverability, something else. So you need to know, what am I looking to solve and have they done this before? Is this their strength? Basically, that's another way to look at it. The second thing is, have they done what I want them to do for my business model? The reality is that a lot of agencies work with everybody, right? They will work with B2C, B2B, B2B, B2C, Shopify, outside of Shopify, they will work with basically everybody that will give them money. And there's nothing inherently wrong with that. It's just that if you work with somebody that's good at fashion, they won't necessarily be as effective at helping your subscription business the way Yocto is, because Yocto does subscriptions and it does health and wellness, it does supplements, it does beauty. We do a very narrow thing, and that's intentional because we want to learn how to solve your problems, those specific sets of problems that these companies have, in the best possible way, in the most efficient way, develop a lot of know-how that will create distance between us and our competitors. So that's why companies specialize. So number one, have they solved a problem like mine? And number two, have they solved it for the same business model that I have? If you are in subscriptions, work with a company that knows subscriptions. Now, number three takes this even a step further because you want them to have solved your problem for the same business model as yours, but you also want them to have done this for the same vertical as yours. Again, it's the fashion versus supplements problem. If they are good at fashion, they won't know as much about how supplement buyers behave, right? It's a totally different market. Fashion is very visual, it's very impulse driven almost, whereas supplements, they need a lot of persuasion, they need a lot of content, you need to be able to trigger people without coming across as cheap or salesy. There's a lot of nuance in that, and you won't get this necessarily unless people have done this before. Now, you've done all of this. What do you do next? You want to actually speak to all of those agencies. So you have your shortlist, you filter it further. Now you want to interview the agencies. You want to get on a call with them, and you don't really want to pay too much attention to the pitch because everybody has a good pitch. You want to ask the following. You want to ask, who's actually going to work on my account, right? Can I meet them? What are their current clients? Are they okay with you reaching out? And I think the last part that a lot of people miss is, what's your methodology? Don't tell me the tools. Don't tell me you're good at Klaviyo, you're good at Meta. But how do you actually get results? If they don't really have a methodology, that's probably a red flag, right? Because it's a methodology means that the agency has spent enough time thinking what is the best way to solve a problem. It's IP. It's essentially evidence that they know what they're talking about almost, right? Because you're not buying for effort. A lot of, especially younger agencies, I know because we did this as well, will try to sell you on we spend more time, we go harder, we're more like custom. Even though this is true in many cases for younger agencies, it stems from the fact that they haven't taken the time to really think through who am I serving, how do I best serve them? Because once you do this, the effort and the lack of methodology by definition has to go away. And you stop selling on we work the hardest, we are like the most custom, the most personalized, and you start selling we actually know how to solve your problem the quickest and in the most effective way, which is a very different thing. And I want to show you an example of this so that you literally see what I'm talking about when I talk about having a methodology. You know how I said we work with subscription-based companies? Our methodology is specifically meant to service and serve them. So you can see we call it the LTV Parthenon, and it consists of 3 different pillars. It consists of growing subscribers, it consists of reducing subscriber churn or loss, and it consists of getting those subscribers to spend more money. And everything that we have built and we're still building is in the direction of making us more effective in those 3 pillars. So as an example, if you were to talk to an average lifecycle marketing agency and you had an issue with not acquiring enough subscribers, what they'd tell you is, oh, you need to send more emails to one-time purchasers that say subscribe and save. And there's truth in that. It would actually do something positive. I won't say a lot, but it would do something positive about moving that KPI. What would actually help you more, however, is to optimize your subscription offering so that it becomes a no-brainer compared to the OTP. What would help you is to have a subscribe and save nudge on your cart and after the purchase. So there's things like that we've taken the time to figure out because we know that they have an effect for the type of company we work with. And if you work with us, we will tell you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is what we need, and you will get results the quickest possible way for your specific set of problems. Similarly, let's take subscriber loss. An average lifecycle marketing agency would tell you you don't want to message your active subscribers because you will annoy them. There is a little bit of truth in that, but it's not a full picture. What would actually reduce churn in your case would be to have better cancellation flows on your customer portal so that when somebody goes to cancel, there is a whole playbook meant to discourage them from canceling. And there is a video within this channel that shows you how to do this. So that's the difference between having a methodology and not having a methodology. Having a methodology means you've taken the time to codify how you get people results, and by definition for doing this you need to be specialized. Otherwise it's not possible really to codify a system that works for every single case. That's the type of company you want to be working with as you are hiring agencies. And believe it or not, this is the end of the video, and if you've watched all the way till the end, then you now know how you can actually select the best agency for your brand. It really boils down to making a curated list, a short list based on what people who are plugged into the market tell you, number 1. Number 2, filter that list based on have they solved the problem I'm trying to solve? Is it their strength to solve that type of problem? Secondly, have they done this for my business model? And then thirdly, have they done this for my business model but also my vertical? So you want specialized help. And number 3, you want to actually, in a way, kind of ignore the pitch that the agency has and make sure you see evidence of a strong team servicing you. You should actually ask to meet them. You should kind of speak to their clients and potentially even old clients to see what they say about them. And then you're going to see evidence that they have a methodology, basically, right? So it's not so much about them coming in and telling you, oh, I've driven like 100 million in revenue or 500 million in revenue. It's more so, okay, how do you do this? What's the playbook? How does this fit my unique case? It's actually seeing evidence that they've thought through how to solve problems like the ones you're trying to solve. And then making sure that the team allocated to your project will be a team qualified enough to do this. And then that you also get independent validation by other brands like yours. If you do this, I promise you, you will get way better results from your agency partners. And frankly, I know it's tricky to do this. It's taking a long time, but think about this way. How much money will you lose if you pick the wrong agency?